Hello, we are Luisa Bonilla and Daniela Garcia Muñoz.
And today we are going to talk about presenting vocabulary. So let's start.
The content is divided in four parts. The first part is what a student may need to know about an item. Ways to present vocabulary is the second. The third, alternative ways of teaching vocabulary. And finally, the fourth one is what we have to consider. The first part, what a student may need to know about an item. Okay, first, they need to know what is an item. We have to say them a clear meaning, and we have to encourage that the student have understood what is an item. Uh, Second, we have to teach them the different forms that have the vocabulary. For example, if it is a verb, if it is an adjective, it is a noun. So we have to teach them that part, make examples, and encourage again that the students understood the topic. Third one, how it is pronounced. It is the most difficult part because the students uh, sometimes have problems with the pronunciation, but we have to use or we can use the phonetic script. We can use the IPA and teach them the correct pronunciation of the word. How to spell it? Spelled. It is so important to have teach this the pronunciation because they have to know the or they have to have clearly what is the pronunciation of each letter or vowel. Five, if it follows any unpredictable, for example, that I put here is man and man, and it is because sometimes there are some words that has unpredictable grammatical patterns, so we have to teach them uh, in a way that they can recognize them. The sixth one, the connotation that the item may have. We know that each word have a connotation, so it is important to teach them that part because some words that have positive or negative images to a specific word. Seven, the situation when the word it is or is not used. For example, the words that we can use in a formal way, in a neutral way, in an informal way, it is so important. The A part, how to words is related to others. And so in this part, we have to teach the synonyms, antonyms, and lexical sets. Nine, collocation are the way that words occur together. We know that exists the collocation of phrasal verbs. So, for example, do favor or in great detail. So it is important to teach them. Finally, what the affixes, the prefixes or suffixes, may indicate about the meaning. So we have to teach the 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 affixes or prefixes, suffixes. What is the difference between them, and what is the meaning of each one? For example, in this case is substandard, and we know that sub means under.
Ways to present vocabulary. Okay, first of all, I have to say that there are lots of ways of getting across the meaning of a lexical item. In this case, we are going to talk about six of them, which are illustration, mime, synonyms, antonyms, and gradable items, definition, translation, and context. So we are going to start with illustration. Illustration is very useful for more concrete words such as dog, train, rain, tall, and for visual learners. Obviously, it has its limits, though not all items can be drawn. In this part, we can see that we have three draws related to a car, a tree, and a cell phone. The second one is mime. So this lends itself particularly well to action verb, and it can be fun and memorable. So for example, here we have a car, and in this case we can say that you need to park it in a parking lot, you need a key to turn it on, and you have to change the four wheels. The third one is synonyms, antonyms, and gradable idioms. Using the words a student already knows that it can be effective for getting meaning across. Um, this is like using another word to try to explain to students what is the meaning of the word. So in this case, for example, we can see a road and a family because we continue talking about a car. The fourth one is definition. For this, you need to make sure that it is clear. Maybe if you are not confident, you can check in the learner dictionary before the lesson starts. Also, it's important to remember to ask questions to check they have understood properly what you were explained before. So, in this case, we have a book from which we can get the information to ask questions to our students. The fifth one is a translation. If you know the student's first language, then it is fast and efficient. Also, you have to remember that not every word has a direct translation. In this case, we can see that we continue with the example of a car. So, in this case, we have like a direct translation because we know we like assimilate word. The last one is context. For this part, we have to think of a clear context when the word is used and either describe it to the students or give them a example sentence to clarify meaning further. So, in this case, we have like the example, the car stopped to clarify the meaning and also the action that we can do with a car. Finally, I have to say that which you choose will depend on the item you are presenting. Some are more suitable for particular words. Often, a combination of techniques can be both helpful and memorable. Okay, we're going to continue with alternative ways of teaching vocabulary. This refers like to give tips or some advices to teach vocabulary. So, the first one is give your students a few items of vocabulary and tell them to find the meaning, pronunciation, and write an example sentence with the word in. They can then teach each other in groups. So it's like a dynamic to make it understandable, and also it helps to beef up the previous knowledge that they acquire. And for me it is very useful because with this we can see like in a real context how to use it. The second one is prepare worksheets and ask your students to match words to definitions. So for me it is very important because in this case you are doing a reinforcement of the previous knowledge and you are also analyzing whether they work with their memory in the long and short term. The third one is ask students to classify a group of words into different categories. For example, in this case, we can see that we have means of transport, and the idea is to make a list of transport words into air, sea, land, and etc. The last one is ask students to find new vocabulary from reading homework and teach the other students in the class. So the main idea with this is make a kind of glossary of unknown words so that the students teach each other and thus generate collaborative learning.
Finally, as a conclusion, what we have to consider in a class or when we are teaching vocabulary is review the vocabulary that we have learned before. So in these cases, uh, we can use some games or activities that can encourage that the students um, have understood the topic and can make it can do it in their houses. Um, encourage autonomy. We have to teach the students to have autonomy. We can tell them to read or watch films, listen to music, and maybe they can write the words that they can use in the or they can understand and search the meaning to understand in a real way the vocabulary. Section for vocabulary. So in this way is when we are in a presential classroom, we can decide to put in one part of the board a section where we can put some vocabulary, some items that can be teach or that the students didn't understand or they found in their house. So as a way to maybe church with their partner with their classmates. Associating meaning, and we have to um, clarify the meaning of the word so we can use images as my classmate said before, and make associations with the word and the image. Um, use of use of dictionary. Um, we have to uh, teach our students that they have to use their dictionaries if they have any doubt about the meaning of one word. So we can tell them to bring a dictionary to the class and use them when it's necessary. Teach grammatical names. It is important, and we can use the phonetic scripts and teach the parts of the speech and also the phonetic script. Do not say false meanings. So in this part, it's so important that if a student didn't understand a word or they check one word and asks us to say the meaning and we don't know the meaning, we have to tell them something like, I will check and I get back to you and I am going to explain you. But don't say any false meaning to the student because he will maybe he will be confused and he will commit mistakes. And finally, we have to give extra examples to ensure that the students understand the real meaning and the meaning in a real context because sometimes we can say some examples, imaginary examples, but we have to use or we must use um, real examples in a real context that they can understand why we use that word.
So that's everything. We hope you have understood this topic in a clear way, and thank you very much.